Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then you should. They were.
Can you see there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Noelle,
Yes.
the science teacher gave me the droppers, or do you want pencils?
Pipettes.
I have droppers, and then I have this. Do you want me to put the blood in this already?
Yes.
Just want this out of the test tube.
Yeah.
Out of the you want the droppers for the test tube, or you want me to put blood in this?
Either one is fine.
Okay, go.
Okay, so this week and next week we're talking about blood, which is most people's favorite for some reason. So first off, a blood stain is a deposit of blood on a surface. And then blood stain pattern analysis is the exam of shapes, location, and the patterns of blood left in the crime scene. So first off, blood doesn't fall in a teardrop shape, like rain doesn't fall in a teardrop shape. It falls in a perfect circle, and that's due to surface tension that's acting on all parts of the sides as it falls. Blood is 6 times more dense than water, and it has actually a higher gravity fall rate than water does. Blood spatter is usually associated with gunshots, beatings, stabbings, very vicious events. To ID spatter is to, one, you have to make sure it's blood spatter before you're like, that's blood. Just because certain things that pop up on when you're testing for blood don't just show up for blood, but other possible body functions as well. So just because you have a stain or something that pops up when you do analysis on the crime scene doesn't necessarily mean it's blood. So they usually take presumptive blood tests out to the scene, which I will see if I can show you an example of what that looks like next week from one of my professors. Also, just if you have a small stain of blood somewhere, doesn't necessarily call it as a spatter pattern. It's just a stain of blood. The reasons we use blood spatter analysis is due to, one, you need to find, you need to determine the area or location of origin of the blood source. So whether the person could have been beaten in the corner of the classroom and then ran all the way out to the parking lot, and you found the victim in the parking lot, you would want to use the blood spatter patterns that he created to find out truly where the crime was committed. Next is when there's blood spatter on clothing, that usually tends to, especially suspects' clothing, that helps to ID them at the time of the crime or around the crime scene. So very possible of just seeing whether or not the person could have, it definitely helps bring the person as part as the violent part, or at least being in the scene or vicinity of the violent crime. Also, blood stain analysis allows the determination of mechanism which the pattern was created. So usually baseball bats and stabbings and gunshots and all kinds of different ways are usually created by different instruments. And blood stain analysis really helps allow you to try to narrow down on what kind of possible weapon was used for the crime. So that's that. So there's a bunch of different kinds of patterns that is used, like a cast-off pattern is a bloodstain pattern resulting from blood drops released from an object. So an example would be a beating. When you take a baseball bat and you crack the person's skull, and you bring it back up and you hit it again, you've already started a pool of blood happening at the original hit. And so when you go and you hit the blood gets onto the bat. And so when you bring it back up over, you now left a cast off pattern because the blood droplets are now flying off the bat behind you, hitting the wall, the ceiling, the back of your shirt. And usually from that, you can tell how many times someone was actually hit using a cast off, because it'll usually bring up, every time you bring it up, it's going to leave a different cast off pattern. And so usually if you have like 3 going back and forth like that, you can definitely tell the person was hit at least 4 times. So that's the cast off. Then you have a drip pattern, which is the result from a liquid that dropped into another liquid. At least one of them was bled, so whether or not the person was standing in, say, the victim's blood and they cut themselves too, and they start bleeding, that blood is going to be dripping into another pool of blood. A drip trail is usually the movement of a source of drip stains between 2 points. So like my earlier example of someone getting beat to death in the classroom and running out to the parking lot, they now left a drip trail. And that's just where all the droplets ended up falling. Then you have a saturation stain, and that's usually from just where blood has kind of been absorbent in a material, so clothing, carpet, sponges, all those are saturation stains. You also have a swipe pattern, which is the result of the transfer of blood from a blood-bearing surface onto a new surface. So just like if I had a bloody hand and I placed it on the wall, I just wiped it onto that, which is different than a wipe pattern, because a wipe pattern is just moving an object through a pre-existing wet blood stain. So if I had a bunch of blood on the table and I was just like swishing my hand around in it for some reason, that's a wipe pattern. That would be weird. You shouldn't just swish your hand around in blood. You don't know what's in it. Then there's also transfer stains, which is from one contact surface to another. So having a bunch of blood and just like putting handprints of blood all over different places. I'm transferring the stain into other places. There's also insect stains, because when they go in, insects, they like to land wherever. They tend to like leave their little footprints all around the walls, which actually can be a misconstrued for a different type of blood stain pattern that's usually caused by gunshots. There's also a stamping pattern, which is the stepping in blood, which some officers actually tend to do when they reach a crime scene. They're like, body, and they will walk straight to the body, sometimes not realizing that they're stepping in blood. And then they leave their bloody footprints all over the floor. And that's not good, because now they've contaminated the scene, and now everyone has to get their footprints and shoes documented. so we can explain why there's these footprints in the scene. So, yeah, that's about all distinct patterns I want to share with you. So why don't we actually start doing some of these lovely patterns, because that's always fun. And I figured you guys would want to spend some more time with doing blood stain.
So I gave him a piece of construction paper, and then
Okay.
I also have plastic all over the floor, and I have a piece of carpet.
Okay.
So tell us what you want me to do.
Well, you have pipettes, right, Mom?
I have what?
Pipettes.
I just have the droppers, yeah?
Yeah. Well, a few of them, if they want, they could make a drip trail, which is always fun. It's even more fun if you spin the person around and kind of let them go off on the plastic.
Can you explain how that looks like?
Huh?
What are they supposed to do? Take the droplet
Yes.
and the blood, and then what?
So they will fill up the droplet with blood. Then they will just casually walk all the while making sure they just press it down, and you'll see a drip pattern. Then the next person can do the exact same thing, except this time, they can skip across the plastic. And then the next person running across the plastic, just to see the different types of drip patterns created.
Okay, so I need 3 people. So we're all gonna try. So, 1, go. And she's going to what? Walk?
Yeah, walk.
Wherever she drips it.
Yeah.
Can you see what we're doing?
No. I see the 3 people holding up their hands in the corner, though.
Okay, I'll move you in a second. And what do you want the next person to do?
The next person can skip across the plastic.
Skip. Elliot.
So just in circles?
Skip. You know how to skip? Okay, but stay on the plastic. Excellent. Keep going. What happens if they're stepping on it?
Yeah. That's
Well,
You're contaminating, right?
that's
Okay.
fine.
Then I need somebody to run. So there we go. Okay, so now we see a pattern, I think. Run from side to side. Are you spilling it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I see it dropping.
Yeah,
it's dropping.
Yes, dropping.
Okay.
Please. Your sweat on.
Okay, you're good. Okay, put it over there. Okay, then.
Hold on. Okay. So now you can all just kind of look and see how the different patterns are made. How someone walking is going to have it more like casually just dropped around. Someone who skips, it tends to be further and further away. And someone who runs tends to have more droplets pressed around closely together.
If they're larger droplets, were those the people running?
Larger droplets would most likely be from the people who were skipping.
What about the bubble?
If it bubbled?
That's actually called a bubble ring. And that's just when there's air in the blood and it just happened to be caught there, which is really cool.
Oh, so that can happen at a crime scene?
Yeah.
So if it's just splattered, those are the people that were walking?
Spattered. What do you mean?
Like it's just little droplets. You can tell it originated from the bigger one and then it went out.
Well, that's also called an accompany drop if it followed that. But usually the people who run because they're going at a higher velocity tend to have smaller droplets.
Oh, so maybe
They're
those.
very inaccurate.
Right.
It might have been easier if this was white.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe even. Yeah, it would have been easier.
Okay, let's try. Hold on, let's try this again. Somebody hold on that side.
Yeah, no.
Don't step on the blood because I don't want that on the
You
carpet.
should go in a straight line, like walking. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is,
Well, that's running.
I'll take it that way. This will be walking. Like that, right there you go.
The blood drops might see through the. We have this big foot. It's a minefield. No, get out! Get out!
Here, this one over here at the end will be running. You're gonna run up and down,
Yeah, run up and down.
and then this one will be skipping.
I likes running around.
Today's the day I should have looked to go buy those booties. Okay. I'm having a hard time finding those booties.
They're online.
They are. I can help you find that out.
So, walking. Nope. Walking. Let's watch the walking. Oh, it is a bigger grip. Okay. You guys clear? Okay, then this is skipping. Nope, skipping in the middle. Oh, keep going. Oh yeah, pull down. Okay, then running up and down. Go.
Yes.
Oh, that has more of a spatter out.
Yeah. Probably because of velocity and fixed
Yeah.
gravity and they go.
There's just a speed. Yeah.
Okay, we're good. What next? Okay, we're good. What next?
Okay. Let's see here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So then now you know if you're walking, it's almost a perfect circle.
Yeah.
The skipping is more clotted.
And it gets like
And
farther
then
away.
here you see it. And look, you have more of the bubbles. But there's a bubble on that one too.
Well, the bubbles are more air in them.
Okay, and then?
Well, the reason the walking tends to be more circular is because it's falling at a 90-degree angle. So it's falling in a perfect spot each time. Whereas each time you're slowly moving the way your arm moves, so it's moving in the air a little bit different. So it's each one's going to leave a different mark. Depending on the angle it's dropped at.
And next week we'll do actual angles to see how it spatters out. Okay, what do you want me to do with the hand?
That you can use for placing blood on it.
Back of your truck.
Yeah,
It's a fabric, right?
It already
There's a fabric, right, wrapped around it. So you can use the fabric as to see the saturation stains, unless you also have carpet. If you asked the janitors, did you?
I do have a carpet.
So you can use that to show the different types of observation, I guess, for the word, on how like blood would fall into carpet versus that thin clothing material wrapped around the arm.
She wants
blood on the hand.
So you want me to put blood on the hand material?
Yes.
Drops,
Yes.
compared to carpet?
Yes.
Who wants to hold a hand? Somebody got done something. And then Nicole, come over here and do the carpet. Don't step on blood.
It's not real blood though.
I have no idea. Okay, so then on the hand, what do you want them to do?
on the hand, drop it onto the fabric, and you'll see, try to drop it at a complete 90-degree angle, and then you should be able to see how the material absorbs it. Because each material is going to have a different absorb as well as it's going to drop differently onto the material.
There you go. That's good. It is.
Lots of bubbles.
So Nicole is higher up when she's dropping it, so it's making a smaller one than right on top of the arm. So you go from on top. Try.
That could also be from the fact that when it's actually hitting the carpet, it's it's one, it's absorbing it, and two, because of how it's falling, and any accompanying drops that come after are going to be falling in, making a splash pattern. So each time it drops into the blood, it's splashing a little bit more out.
But you guys want to see how it is on? Can you see from the carpet to the material? Okay, then what next?
I mean, that's all I could really. I mean, there's.
Let's batter on their paper, right?
Yeah.
How do you want them to do that, though?
Any way they really want to, just as long as they don't make a complete mess of your classroom, I guess.
Okay, so hold on 1 second.
You can have some of them grab pencils and like swirl the blood and just kind of flick it onto the paper.
Well, you know what? Put it down. It doesn't matter. Let it run right through it. Okay, so listen. On your piece of paper, I'm going to go table by table. You're going to bring your piece of paper and lay it on here, and you can do your blood spatter design. And then we'll put your name. I'll put your name on the paper right now, and then we'll see what it looks like when it dries out. So I'll save them until next week.
I just want to get one.
But I have 3 of them. I wrote my full name.
I know how you make this.
Water.
Faith, I didn't even know a few words, so I was like, oh, what's that? And she's like, that's safe.
Okay, listen to me. In case the blood temporarily stains your skin, if you get it on, do not rub. The stain will fade with repeated gentle washing. Blood may permanently stain certain surfaces, fabrics, and carpeting, so be careful. So, I'm going to go one at a time. Well, we'll go table to table. So we did it outside. Somebody's going to get blood on the thing, and somebody will step on it. Oh! Okay, next week when we do it, I have no, I have a foot. And then we'll do a footprint to see what it looks like in blood. Okay, so you guys first bring yours. Lay it down so that you guys don't touch. Sophia and Sage should get from the same bottle.
Okay. Wait, should we take 2 pads or just 1?
Okay, then you guys come right here and do this one. Let's see what it's like out of this.
Don't drop one.
Yeah, it's like so big. Mine's like perfect circles. Oh my god.
I want to see perfect language, but I want to see it.
How do you make your little circle? I just want to
This one is more. Okay, you girls have that one. Okay, then we're going to take it and lie it on the table. And then once you're done, put your name on your folders so that we can keep your stuff all together.
Should we take these to our desk?
Yeah, and then they'll draw. And then put your names on your folder. Careful with my carpets.
Mine's so wet.
Next table, you girls. Claire and you guys bring your stuff over here. Here, girl. You share this one. You and Claire. That one.
On the carpet, Claire. What? No, I'm gonna read it. Yeah. Oh.
Girls, come over here. You guys go into this one and share it.
Oh my god.
And then put on your paper if you can tell what kind of spatter did you do and at how degrees.
Oh, yeah, me too. Why did I
Look at that one. Oh.
I like that.
Thanks, yeah, exactly. You.
I did forensics.
I tried to return.
The art of bloodstain.
The art of bloodstain.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, boys. Okay, girls, and put your name on your folder so that any papers that we now have, you guys will have your folders. I'll collect them here.
Finished.
Boys, you come over here.
I don't want to stress.
Don't step on the blood.
I'm telling you, I had it first. Yeah. What do you feel?
Anything else, Noel?
No, that's all I have really for this week. The next week is more like actually telling the directionality and then like how you can find the point of origin.
Okay, girls, did your stuff already dry on your paper?
No.
No. Okay.
Almost.
It's almost dry.
Oh, it wasn't that.
Yeah. Mine's not that close because I did a little line.
Okay, so then leave your stuff on there and I'll pick them up in the morning and then we're done for today, guys. Any questions for Noella blood spatter?
And this. I like
Can you pick that up, pick that up, pick that up and take it to the table, please? Not sitting on my carpet. Boys, which one of you guys are going by the bus? Anybody taking a bus?
I am.
Just wrap up all this stuff. And your table over there. All right, we're good now. I'll cut it from the live feed.
Okay.